Well, let's get this thing rolling here. So again, I'm Nate Stair, Market Segment Leader for Facilities Vertical here at GPRS. We are so excited to have you here today to listen in, learn a little bit about SiteMap and what we have going on here at GPRS. A lot of new and fun things to get in your hands, and we're excited to share it with you here today. I want to introduce Matt Mikolajczyk. He's our technical sales representative, segment leader for GPRS here, heading up the SiteMap team. So we're so excited to hear what you have to say, Matt, and you can take it away.
Great, thanks, Nate. I really appreciate that. So, hi everyone. I really thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. We really value your business, and hopefully you'll see the value in SiteMap that we can show for you today. I am Matt Mikolajczyk. I am the technical sales leader for SiteMap, and I've been working on the SiteMap sales team for about almost a year now, but I've actually been at GPRS for about 3 years and are working on SiteMap. So SiteMap, we've been developing this over time to give our clients something that they can work with and use that's a little different, a little more advanced, a little more easy to collaborate, and I'll get into that. But first of all, I want to talk about GPRS and kind of get into our agenda here, and a little bit about myself as well. So I'm actually a civil engineer licensed in Ohio, Michigan. And why am I working at GPRS? Well, we really value, we want to make things as safe as we can. So we want to make your job sites as safe as possible when you go to dig, or basically visualize your world so that you know what's underground. You have documented what's above ground, and it's in a drawing that you can rely on when you go to do that work. But I actually have a short story. Working at my previous job, there was an issue where we were out using a geoprobe, and that geoprobe actually penetrated electrical duct bank in the middle of a refinery. So obviously this is a big concern. Obviously, first question: did anybody get hurt? Is anybody injured or worse than that? And the answer to that question was no. Luckily, everyone was fine. But then the next question: what kind of damage did it do? It actually put out part of the plant. So the plant was down. And if you are familiar with that, it's really not a great situation to be in. We're talking millions of dollars a minute type issues. And the question becomes, are we going to be able to continue working at the refinery? How fast can they get it up? And those are just things that we try to prevent. Those offline issues and the damages and the issue with the possible injuries, and even worse than that. So what GPRS does, we use a variety of technologies to help visualize your world. So we use everything from ground penetrating radar, pipe locators, video pipe inspection, and to find those things that are underground that may be difficult to see from the surface. And then we document those with our GPS units, our drones, as well as our LiDAR systems. So we have laser scanning equipment that we can also deploy to capture. So we actually scan underground. We actually scan concrete surfaces as well. And so this is just kind of a brief overview of what GPRS does in the field. And then historically, what we've been doing, current state, is we provide this type of submittal letter for our utility locates. So we GPS locate everything to map it out. This submittal is an automated deliverable that we helped develop when I first came here about 4 years ago, and we've been using this ever since then. And all this data basically goes right to the client after we've located on the site, where they get a PDF, they get a KMZ to view in Google Earth, as well as a shapefile. We also do video pipe inspection, so that data is collected video-wise, and then all the defects are loaded in our WinCan system, so you can run videos and see those documents as they're produced. Laser scanning, we can go through and document the site, pick up our markings on the ground. You can kind of see some of the paint marks in this point cloud viewer, and this is actually a virtual tour platform that we produce for a lot of our laser scan jobs. And then we can even build that into a 3D model if that's needed. And this is an example of that, where we've actually gone through and taken the GPS and taken the laser scan data and converted all that into a 3D underground model and overlaid our client proposed model on top of it, so they could compare that in Navisworks. So we work with a variety of different softwares and things like that. But working with our clients, what have we found over the last 20 years when we've been doing this type of work? We found that this was a survey that we put out. I think we surveyed over 100 clients. We found that 66% of them have experienced damages in the last 5 years on their projects. Now, some of those are working with us, some of them are not, but this is just in general, these are the types of numbers that they're seeing on the types of projects that they worked on. 66%. The number of ways that they store this data, 4 different ways. So whether it's on plans or KMZs or Mylars, DWG, DGN, there's just a variety of different formats that people work with. And the big one of those is the tribal knowledge. Just like if you have a Bob or Joe that works on campus and he knows everything that's been installed in the ground over the last 30 years. Maybe he's ready to retire. So the issue is, what do we do with this data and how do we get it to a point where we can all view it in one spot? 30% of projects experience delays from unforeseen issues. And actually the sites that do have data, they're saying that 50% of those have inaccurate subsurface utility drawings. So even if they do have drawings available, that data is sometimes not very accurate or can't be really relied on. So GPRS, I've shown you kind of what we've done up to date, and the question is, why are we changing things? We have a great system. We have an automated deliverable that data gets to our client before our tech leaves the site. We have our laser scanning and 3D modeling, but we're not really changing any of that. What we're doing is adding more functionality and kind of giving it to you in a way that you can experience it in a better way, maybe a more efficient way, something that you can easily collaborate with your teams. So why are we doing it? Our clients want to see the data that we collect in one location. So they don't want a separate email for this and separate email for that, and everything's disjointed. They wanted to have one centralized storage of everything. And then the other thing, a lot of the data can be siloed between teams and between clients. So maybe we've been on site, 50 different times because it's a very active refinery. Well, this will give us an ability to see all that data in one spot. So everything that we've located, for all the different clients, it's all located in this one repository that we can get access to, and we can actually delegate access to and share between our teams. And then also, not all of our clients can open the files that we give them. A number of them, they can't install Google Earth, or they don't know what to do with a shape file. They don't really know what to do with a PDF. This gives them something they can log into, and it's just there. They can start working with it. So it really simplifies and removes that barrier of, oh, I'm not a CAD technician. I don't have AutoCAD, so I can't open a file. Or, I don't have this GIS platform, so I can't do anything with it. So we're actually giving this GIS platform away as part of our services, so that whenever you order a locate, it's automatically be populated by what GPRS has done. So SiteMap is really powered by GPRS. That's what that means, is that we're actually adding that data into the system for you. And we do provide options to add your own data, but right now, we just want you to get in the system and use it and see how we're populating it and basically make your lives easier in that way. So the SiteMap solution is really driving accuracy on your job sites, giving you that centralized database to store all this information. It's enabling collaboration with your teams, so it's easily to share back and forth and see that data in one spot. And it's also just giving you that ability to visualize your infrastructure in an easy to use platform. So that's really the main the reason why we created this SiteMap over the last 3 years, is that we want to give our clients that ease of use and all of these different solutions that you see on the screen. So this is where I'm going to jump into the demonstration, but there's my contact information. So if you have any technical questions or integration questions, APIs, anything like that, we're in development mode right now, so we're still heavily working on what we can do and what we can't do. So if you have any questions related to that sort of thing, or if you want to have a special demo and to get into our different subscription offerings, there's my email address and my phone number. And then if you have any random Q&A or issues that you see, or missing jobs even, there's our support email address there that you can always contact. And with that, I'm going to see if Nate has any questions that we should run through before we jump into the demo.
I don't see any questions at this time, but yeah, again, feel free to use the chat or the question feature there, and yeah, we'll take some time here at the end after the demo and answer any questions you have. So Matt, you can just jump right into the demo.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so sitemap. So first of all, let me back up. Let's first go to site-map.com. Oops. So this is where you go to go to sitemap and actually log into the system. So these are going to be the first couple steps that you're going to want to follow when you're signing up for an account. So hopefully some of you already have signed in, but if not, this is where you can just go to this site, go to the sign in and sign up now. Type in your email address. You're going to hit the send verification code. It's going to send you an email code that you'll type in, a 6-digit code. You'll type in a password for the system. You'll have to check this terms and agreements for the software. So it's just a standard agreement of terms and conditions of use. You'll click that and check a box. So you just scroll down to the bottom and then agree. You can download that if you'd like, and then you just hit create. And once it's created, it's going to let you into the system, and you can start working with it in a way that I'm going to show you here. So when I log into the system, I'm a GPRS employee, so I can actually see all the data that we have in SiteMap in my map viewer on the right. So each one of these blue dots represents one of those automated deliverables that we produced, a submittal letter that has the KMZ, the shapefile, the PDF. All that's still there, but it's located on a map for you to show you what jobs are under your direct email address. And when you click on those, it'll load and you can share, and I can show you some of that. But as you start accessing the jobs, they'll start populating. So when you first log in, you may not see anything over here. So I actually did a test of this. So I created my own personal account, and when I logged in, there was nothing here. But as I start loading jobs, they start populating. So I can go back and refer to other work orders that GPRS has done under my email address. So yeah, same thing with documents. We have, like I said, we have documents that are also stored in this. So we have our PDF files, our KMZs. As you start accessing those files, there's going to be a list of the most recently accessed documents here, so you can see those as well. And then the map viewer is really where the main thing's going to happen. So there's two ways of entering the map viewer to larger. You can hit this full screen mode, or you can go over here to the map viewer button on the left. So as you hit the map viewer button, it's just going to expand that screen and allow you to do a little bit more with the system. I have two different options. I can just click a dot and share it. So this is a target site. Maybe I want to share it with a vendor or target themselves. I can just type in their address, give them view access, and share it. And then they can create a sitemap login and see that data for that particular submittal letter by doing that. Or I can go and hit view job. I'm not going to do that on that one. I'm just going to kind of scroll in, because this is another way you can load the data, is just zooming in to your information. And what this does is actually loads all the data from each one of those dots at the same time. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see that we've been on site 1, 2, 3, probably about 20 so times, maybe more. All that information previously in our automated deliverable, you'd have a KMZ to load, and then you have to load another one, and really build a map by yourself. Where this it happens automatically. So all that data is already shown on your screen there from all those different jobs. And I can do some really cool things with this once it's open. So I can go over to the layer button over on the right. As that expands, it shows all my different layers. And I can hide everything and maybe just show my electrical systems. So that's kind of a nice feature to have. Or maybe I'm just concerned with my communication lines that I found so far. So this is just a way of isolating the different systems, but it's just it's a great way to do it all online. You can do this on your phone, your tablet. And actually, we do have an Android and an iOS app that are going to be coming out soon. But right now, everything's online that you can access this on any tablet or phone or computer the way it is now as well. So if I zoom in a little further, I can really start diving into some of these features. So as I click on a line, the date of the installation is there, the GPRS work order number, and the project manager that found the line and what type of equipment they used, the depth to top. So basically this is that data that was collected on site with the different attributes. It's all stored here in the system. So yeah, I can click and get the information that way. And then if I wanted to maybe do a print, I can do that from here, or I can export data. So let's do an export just as an example. So here I want to export, but I don't want to give them the full site. Maybe it's some sensitive data, and they really only need access to this parking lot because they're maybe repaving it. So I've drawn my box around the data. I can just simply go here and share it and type in any email I want. That email can log in and see the data within that box when they're on SiteMap. So that's a really cool way to share it and not have to basically work from a file that could be changed. Everything in here is we're treating it as a single source of truth for that information that was collected. So that's really an easy way for them just to log in and see that data. Or I can actually go and produce an export. So we have a variety of different formats available. KML would be like your Google Earth file. SW Maps is what we use for our data collection. So that's a really cool way, a really easy way to collect data with your iOS or Android. It's a free app that people can download. These are all your different GIS platform type files that you may use. And then drawing exchange file, DXF. That's really a file that can be used in any kind of CAD system. So whether you have Autodesk or MicroStation or Revit or whatever you're using, really should be able to work with that DXF file that's produced. And I'll just do a KML for this test and export that. So that's actually been requested, and when it's done, there'll be a little red dot above my export there telling me that it's ready to download. Next thing with printing. So printing is actually a single job relation right now. So I do have to load a single dot in order to print right now. So I'm going to go click on a dot and view job. And this gave me the Centennial Mall UT campus. And now I can go to print. I can show my print box. I'm going to change my coordinate system to state plane coordinate system. And I have options of different paper sizes, which I like an 11 by 17 because that's what I can print to. The grid would be like a northing and easting grid, lines that are shown on the map. And then this blue box I can click and move around, and I can change the scale of it. Maybe I want everything on there. I do a 240 scale, and I can click and move this so I can get the whole site and hit print, and then that'll produce a PDF that I can then either print or email to someone, but it'll also have a legend on it with all the different icons and all the different line colors, so that I can work with it outside of SiteMap. But really the whole idea with SiteMap is to use this data online to maintain that single source of truth, and then be able to export the data when you need it. Now we do have ability to import data, but that's for GPRS to do unless there's a subscription that was bought. So we won't get in that today. But here's the PDF report that was created. Here we are. So we're still working on some stylization, but you can see our northing and easting grids, a north arrow, legend, some information in the border there. But yeah, it's a more refined PDF than what we would automatically produce with our report, and we can really customize it to the scale that you need. So we can make it much smaller scale if we want, or we can even isolate the layer before we print. So maybe you want a print of that with just the electrical systems on. You can do that really easily in the system without having to get into CAD and make it a whole complicated process. And really, the beauty of it is that anybody can do this. It's not I'm not a GIS professional. I've done CAD for 20 years, but I don't have to know. Nate can get in here and use it just as easily as I can. So that's really why we made it the way we did. So it's an all-inclusive way to collaborate with your team. Now with that, so everything I've shown today, you can do with our personal viewer of SiteMap. So you can log in, just go to site-map.com, get your account and log in the system. You'll be able to see whatever you have in the database and start working with it. Now there are some other features I can get into. I think we have a little bit more time too. So just going around the system here, the map style. So if I click on that, there's satellites shown now, but there's also a light and a dark mode and street mode. So there's all the different options there. If I hit the this current location button, it'll zoom me to where my computer thinks I am. If you're on your phone, it works really well. This current location button does. Sometimes on the computer, it might actually redirect you to your internet provider sometimes. So that's one thing to think about. The north button here, I can click and rotate my map if I wanted to realign and not look at north straight up. A lot of sites are set up like that. Zoom in and zoom out can be done either with these buttons or with your scroll wheel. And then these are measurement tools. So if I wanted to measure a length, I can do that. Or if I wanted to measure an area, just click and close the box, and it'll show you the area. Typically in acres, unless it's a smaller area. So there's that. We already talked about the dashboard. We talked about the map viewer that we're in now. Digital plan room we'll get to in a second, and then the collaboration. So if I were to share a job with someone, I'd want to have a list of who I shared it with, and maybe even be able to retract that. So that's exactly what this is I can go and share jobs, and it keeps track of what the GPRS work order number was and who it was shared with and when, and then I can always go and change it to no access and save it, and it would basically retract access for that user. Also the search functionality I'm going to talk about here, because maybe you do have a lot of jobs, or maybe you have work all over the US and you want to search to see what we have in a specific address. So we actually use this a lot on every day. Whenever our project managers are going to a site, they can just type in an address, which I'm just gonna type in one here and do a search, and this is gonna fly into our training center here in Sylvania, Ohio. And obviously we have a lot of surveys that we've done around here for just testing mostly. And a couple of stragglers out there for testing, but yeah, you can see we can search by address. We can also search by the job name, the work order, GPRS work order, customer name. So this was kind of fun. So if I wanted to do, let's go back to Target. So if I zoom out, Target would be able to see, we've done that many stores for them, for instance. So we could filter by customer name if it's whatever it is. It's kind of a nice way to group jobs for us internally, and then also potentially for your use. Latitude, longitude, project manager, and then we already went over the address part. There is a really nice help menu here. So if you go through the getting started, this is also a work in progress. So we do have a few frequently asked questions and some things that you can go through. Some troubleshooting is still in the works, but we also have a lot of training videos. So this is something that you may want to review as you start using the system. And then there's also some forms and documents that you may want to have access to download. For instance, like the legend showing the lines and icons that we use. What is this specific symbol on the map? You can view it here by downloading that. Or even with a map viewer, I want to show you by isolating the layers, it may help you, decipher what it is, or even clicking on the actual icon will really help tell you what that icon is. I'll just go back to this University of Toledo site. So maybe you're zoomed in and you see all these LPs. Well, I don't know what an LP is, so I'm going to click on it, and okay, the layer is on Site Light, so I can see that. But I can also go through, and if I expand my layers here, I can see that the Site Light there, I can turn on and off, and my site lighting turns on and off. And this actually, I can even drill down even further. So if I open this up, it'll show me each particular item. So I can click on here and it'll tell me the specific light that is, and I can turn just that one light off. So it's really nice. You can dive down that deep. A lot of times, even in CAD, you can't really dive down that deep to turn things on and off unless you basically click on it and hide it or something like that. So but yeah, I just wanted to show you can do all the way down to that level. One other feature I wanted to show here, which is really, I think, a really cool one, is this little folder right here. So if I click the folder, this shows me files that are in view. So this is kind of a unique thing that we're actually going after a patent on, is this filtering by zoom level to show you just the files that are on your screen that are geotagged in a space. So those letters that are produced, the lines only maps, Excel files, KMZs, all that automated deliverable that's still being produced. This shows you which files are actually within the area of the map that you're looking at right now. So I can go through and download those. I can also access those from the digital plan room, which is what I was kind of waiting on showing you next. So as I enter the digital plan room, just like the map viewer, I can search for jobs in the search criteria. But now I can share individual jobs and folders. So here's all the different job numbers, and I can search by whatever criteria I want. But if I do, I'll just do University of Toledo. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 different jobs that I have, and as I click and enter those, it shows me the submittals, and then I have a couple of different revisions that were done by GPRS. So the latest revision, right now this one wasn't populated yet, but you would see that data that was collected under that revision. So here, this one actually was populated. So you can see the SW maps file that we used, the Excel file. It's like basically a point file with your latitudes and longitudes listed is there. The shape files that you're typically seeing, the letter, PDF map, it's all being produced, but now it's being stored centrally in the system. And you can change the view of this. I actually prefer the list view. And over here you can see I can download it, I can share it, and there's even more options there that I can actually edit the geolocation of the file and some other really cool things. So with that, I think that's basically what I have to show you. Oh, there is the export I can look at and download and show you that real quick, just so you can see that. And I did want to show real quick too, there are some preferences and profile options that you can adjust in here. So take a look at that if you don't want to get notified via email, or if you wanted to see 10 projects instead of the 5 or anything like that. You can kind of go through and play with those settings. And then here's the example of that Google Earth export that I just did a second ago. Okay. And you can see it's cut off right where I drew my polygon. The line colors are not working with me today for some reason. Everything's white, but you kind of get the point. Everything is exported exactly where I cut those lines, so that no additional line work is shown if you want to restrict that. So the line colors will be fixed. I think that must be just a minor tweak that we have to make in the system, but you kind of get the idea. Each one of these you can still click and get information as well. But all that, like I said, all this data is in SiteMap, so that's really where we would like you to go and experience that information. So with that, we're going to check back with Nate, see if there's any questions that we can take at this time. and feel free to stay online. We're here for another 45 or I'm sorry, another 15 or 30 minutes if we need to be, and ready to take any calls or questions that you may have. Otherwise, feel free to reach out and set up a private demo that we can do with you and talk about SiteMap and how we think it can help you and start working together in the system.
Yeah, awesome, Matt. We did have a couple questions come in here. Red asked a pretty good one. Can you take my current paper plans, PDFs, or CAD drawings into SiteMap? And just let you know, Matt, in the chat, I did say that some of these features are coming soon, but maybe go into detail about what we're doing, more in the future with SiteMap.
Yeah, so in the future, that is going to be an option to bring in any vector line work, any raster imagery, PDFs. That would have the ability to import into the system, but it is going to be part of a subscription plan, so I didn't want to mention that today. This is more for what all of our users will be able to experience. So everyone that's on this call, whether they're a subscriber or not, as long as they're using SiteMap, even at the free version level, will be able to do everything that I've shown today.
Awesome. And then Jake also asked, when you talk about a subscription, just go into a little more detail about how to get more information about the subscription and a little more detail on that, if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the subscription offering, we will ask that we have a special demo with you to talk about your use case and how you'd like to use the system, either on a project or a professional basis. So here's my email address that you can email me, as well as a phone number. But we will have a Calendly link that's going to go out to you all as a follow-up if you do have more questions related to our subscription offering, that we can meet with you directly and talk about that.
Okay. And I didn't see any other questions come in. At this time, if anyone wants to ask a question or anything, you can raise your hand and we can go live with some questions. If you'd like, we'll hang out for a minute. So Steve asked a couple of really good questions here. Matt, are there any 3D viewer modes, so you can see the utilities, basically underground or whatnot?
Yeah, so what SiteMap will have is an icon with a link that'll launch a viewer. So you'll be able to tag a building and click on that tag, and it'll launch a virtual tour, or it'll launch a Autodesk Cloud model that you may have developed. Also, we can store those Revit files and those Navisworks files in the system as part of our subscription offering again. So a lot of those additional features beyond the viewer are really going to be a subscription offering that you'll be able to see that data. But we can bring in the drone imagery as a background, which we're doing that for one client. We can bring in proposed plans that an engineer had developed to tag to a site. We can bring those in as a DWG or a PDF, a DGN. But yeah, the 3D viewer will be basically accessed through a link that will launch it as an iframe inside the system.
So Matt, then Steve followed up, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, buddy. Is there any way that you can pull up that St. Vincent's Hospital project and show some of that 3D example, so you can kind of see what it looks like when it comes together?
Sure, absolutely. Let me do that real quick.
Super on the spot. I love it. Love it.
Luckily, I have this site ready to go. So yeah, so this is a SiteMap site that the SiteMap data. This is not SiteMap. This is actually a virtual tour that was collected with our laser scan data. And this is actually a point cloud viewer, so you can see through the point cloud some of the markings that we had on the surface there. I can actually jump into the 3D photos that were also collected with the laser scanner. And I'm walking through in a virtual tour outside of SiteMap, but this could be launched through a link in SiteMap, like I had said. So really cool things I can do with this. I can do measuring. So if I want to know the height of that light, it's 25 foot 1 inch from the ground. Or if I wanted to look at everything directly top down, I can see, that marking that actually corresponds, if I jump into this photo, actually corresponds to, this was the photo here actually, this duct bank here, and there's actually another duct bank there. So we were able to trace that line work from outside the building to inside the building that way. And then from that data, we actually developed a 3D model of the underground, and that's what's shown here on the screen. You can see all the catch basins and the storm lines and the electrical conduit that are running between the light. And there's some of those duct banks that we talked about. And we actually overlaid the client model on this particular instance, which I can, for some reason, I have my navigation is not quite the same as it usually is, but I can actually isolate those views in here normally, but today I can't. Yeah, so if I wanted to turn off the proposed model and just show the existing model over top of it, I can do that. But yeah, we're able to draw in the size of the lines that we find. Typically with the way that we locate, we're using GPR, we're using EM, or even video pipe. We may have some error associated with the location, so we usually show that as a halo or an area of influence where that line may actually reside, so that if you needed better data or you needed an exact depth or an exact size even, you may have to expose that line in order to get better data. So, but this shows where potential conflicts are, and we can then expose those or move our. In this case, they had to move some caissons around in order to work around the data that we had found underneath the ground.
Yeah, this project right here was really a combination of all of our data collection services. It was also all of our mapping and modeling all put together in one, so you can see the underground. So yes, we can collect your below ground, subsurface features, but also above ground as well. And tying the two together, obviously, Steve, as your questions asked, I mean, it's very important. So I hope we answered that one for you. Rhett had asked another question about VPI data being incorporated. Is that something we can attach into SiteMap as well? That's video pipe inspection.
Yeah, the video pipe inspection. So actually we did video pipe inspection on this same job. Let me log in real quick and I can show you what that looks like. Maybe. There we go.
And just another comment to the group, if you've been a current client with GPRS and you have data that's in SiteMap, Matt and I would love to walk you through it, show you how to use it, get your hands on it for like a one-on-one type demo of the platform. We can also go over other deliverables and other things like that as well. So just want to throw that out there to the group.
Yeah, so this was the video pipe inspection, CCTV. So basically the camera that we put into a pipe. This is the video that's produced from that camera. And then each one of these are different either defects or taps in the line that we can actually jump the video to, so you can see what that tap looks like, or the condition of the tap at that location. But this would actually be launched via, again, another icon that you click on in SiteMap, and then it launches the video eventually. But right now, it's not live yet, but that'll be something that'll be an option in SiteMap as well. And then this is actually the SiteMap data. Let me load that specific job. So we actually had been out to the site a few times, so you can see some of the data is all combined there again. But sometimes it's better just to look at one job at a time. So in this case, this is the data that was collected just for that job and how it's seen in SiteMap. And you can see how 3D model is great if you're in CAD and you're working with it, but sometimes if you're out in the field, you just really need to see the line work. And if you hit this current location button and you're standing here, it would fly it to this view, so you can look around and see what had been previously found. And maybe the marks are gone, maybe the pavement's removed, but you still have an idea of where you're at and where the lines were located. Now, obviously, we still want to have you have paint on the ground before you dig, but at least this gives you an idea of what all's around you, or how safe it would be, if you were to start digging in an area, just to give you an idea. Now, this data also was collected with RTK, so a lot of times we get a question, how accurate is this data? It's really as accurate as it was collected. So if it was collected by a surveyor and it's brought into the system, it could have survey grade accuracy. We're not surveyors, but we do have RTK equipment, and we can collect that and bring it into the system. So it's as accurate as the data that was collected with that unit. So we have a variety of different GPS units, some ranging sub-meter to RTK, so ranging from 3.5 feet to within a couple inches of accuracy is really what we can help provide. In this case, we actually worked with a surveyor to review our data to make sure it was within that standard.
Yeah, just going back to the group here. If there's any other questions, feel free to catch us offline. But we are so thankful to have you all on the call here with us today. I hope you learned a little bit. Each time I see this, I kind of pick up on something extra. So it's just awesome, Matt. You did a great job. Yeah, we really appreciate your time, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you.